Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Molly White. Faces of Abortion is the only television program of its kind that deals with the painful truth of abortion. You will hear powerful testimonies from women and men who've experienced abortion and the devastation that it brought into their life. You will hear the truth about abortion from scientific and legal evidence that you may have never known. You will also be given practical steps that you can take to help end abortion in America. And if you're hurting from abortion, we want you to know that Jesus saves and He forgives and He heals. We also have a 1-800 helpline number that you can call and talk to a caring person on the other end who will listen to you, pray for you, and help you find an abortion recovery group in your area to help you heal from abortion.
So it just overwhelmed me. And I felt the only way to escape the pain was to take my life.
I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to have my own children.
It brings heartache, it brings hurt.
And I knew they were tearing my baby apart.
I remember the cold feeling of the room.
I remember laying there and I just said to myself that I will never forgive myself for what I'm doing.
I believe that my life was spared that night just so that I could be here right now and say abortion hurts women.
Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Molly White, and I'd like to introduce my co-host, Clayton Trotter, the General Counsel of the Justice Foundation, and Alan Parker, the President of the Justice Foundation, and our special studio guest, Chantel Cawthron.
Molly, you know, it's such an honor for us to be on this program every week and to hear courageous, bold women like Tina and Chantel tell their stories about what abortion did to them. I think it's the most amazing way to find out the truth about abortion and what really goes on in the abortion mills in America is to listen to these women's testimonies.
That's right, Alan. And here you're going to be listening to Tina's testimony in her own words.
I was 15 years old when I had my abortion, my only abortion, the only time I've been pregnant since. My mom is the one that suggested me to have an abortion. And even though I didn't know the medical procedures or so-called medical procedures for it, and I understood what it was, I didn't want it. I knew then that just by her saying it, that it was wrong. And but she insisted, and I told my boyfriend, maybe hoping that he'll somehow magically get me out of this predicament or something, right? He didn't. He didn't know what to do either. He was only 17 and living with his family. My parents were going through a divorce, so my dad was an alcoholic. Is an alcoholic, and I never trusted to go to him with the problem. I always felt like he wouldn't be there for me. I couldn't trust him. Okay, so I didn't go to my father, and my mom was insistent that I'd have the abortion. Even though I pleaded with her and cried to her, I didn't know what I would do with the child, but I didn't know I didn't want to do that. But she kept talking to me, telling me she'd be there for me, that it'd be all right, and there was no big deal. And you know, your mother's telling you, from when you're a baby, your mom's your leader. You know, she tells you what's best for you and tries to lead you what's best. And that's how I used to justify having the abortion, is by just because my mom said it was the best thing for me, and it wasn't. In the clinic, you pay extra to be asleep when you have an abortion, or do it awake, you pay less. I didn't have the money to do extra. My mom didn't have the money, and so I was awake. But I heard the girls who were asleep, when they woke up, they were screaming. So they had to take me out of the room where the other girls were waiting, because I was crying because I couldn't handle that. And this other girl went in there and told me, explained to me why it's the best choice, because I'm not ready for it, you know, and she said it was a choice. She said it wasn't really a baby, because it hasn't had time to grow, hasn't had time to do what babies do, I guess. And at 15, I was scared, naive, I guess. I sucked it up, basically. Went in there. I was more afraid, though, that if I didn't do it, I'd let my mom down. And I've already let her down by getting pregnant. I didn't want to let her down again by not having the abortion. So I went in there, got ready, got on the table, and started crying while I was laying on the table. And the nurse soothing me, comforting me. And I just remember looking at her and thinking, you can stop it. You're a woman, you know, you don't have to make me do this. But it wasn't her choice, you know, and for a long time I said it wasn't my choice either, but I chose the actions that caused me to get pregnant. And I've regretted my actions. I've regretted the abortion ever since. They covered up the hoses that the suction comes out with towels and stuff, and while I was laying there, I looked over. There's a part that wasn't covered, and I saw the blood going through there. That's when I really lost it. So when he was done, they hurried me out of there into the recovery room, and I was in there crying and crying, and there was other girls in the recovery room crying and crying too. That is always stuck in my head. Every time August 2nd comes up, it sticks in my head. Every year on that day, something has gone wrong, either because it's self-inflicted or because that's just the way things happen. Sometimes things go wrong. But that day always sticks out in my head. And it's recurring always every year. How old my baby would be, how they would look, what grade they would be in, how smart they would be, how beautiful they would be. And I believed it was a girl. And so every time I see a baby girl, my baby could have been that beautiful, or that smart, or that happy. She'd be 18 this year, graduating from high school. I don't know what she could have been. I don't know what I could have been if I hadn't done that. Because I spent many years going through drugs and alcohol, getting in trouble, being on probation, going to jail, fighting all the time. I'd get in fights just to be beaten on somebody or to be beat on. Going through relationships like that, you know. So all these things compounded have always taken time for me to deal with, and I say deal with, but to heal from. I didn't understand healing up until about 2 years ago from this. Even when I accepted Christ over 10 years ago, I didn't understand healing for this, because I felt Christ can heal me for anything, not that. And that was bold of me to think